Just another quick weed video. This is wild bergamot. This is a direct relative of, God, excuse me, get out of the way. A direct relative of Beebalm. In fact, I call it wild Beebalm. It's known better as wild bergamot. This is a member of the mint family. It's very high in menthol, and it also has bergamot oil as one of the essential oils. So Native Americans would use this plant for all kinds of little minor ailments like stomach aches and your kidney hurts, and they'd make it as a poultice and put it on cuts and things like that. When it flowers, though, it's really pretty. I wanted to show you these first because over here where this is growing this was like a pile of branches and brambles and stuff that I burned a couple years ago, and so the plants that grow over here get really tall. They get like 5 feet tall. The bergamots don't get that big, but they do turn into these seed heads up here, which these are left over from last year. This is probably where the other ones grew from. These little round pods, and they just drop their seeds everywhere. And then the new little babies come up, and then we got a whole bunch of wild blackberries growing in behind there. So this is like a natural kind of spot for all the bees and the butterflies. In a couple weeks here, especially when the bee balms start to flower, they're going to be all over this area. And I've walked back here before and seen literally hundreds of butterflies and bees and all different manner of species of pollinators, and they just love this spot, so they come back here and tear it up when everything's blooming. And that'll be in a couple weeks, so maybe I'll start videoing some other wild things like insects, and you guys can see all the different butterfly species. I might try to do like 100 in a day or something. Let me show you what it looks like when it blooms. Ooh, right down in these weeds we have wild bergamot. And if you know what scarlet bee balm is, then I'm sure by this point you can see the resemblance. They make these very, very showy little heads full of flowers, and then seeds get produced, and these ones are white. Normally they're like a purple color. So there's a couple different varieties. Yeah, so this is what they look like after they bloom. And I came down here because everything up here blooms in like different cycles. I mean, we got some raspberries right here that are already setting fruit. So if I come down here, things tend to flower and bloom first, and then I can go back up the hill and they're still, so everything's in its own different state. It wants to go in its own time depending on where it's at. But really, really showy, pretty flowers. These would be good for a garden. I know they'll grow up top. I just haven't really transplanted any up there. I've tried to transplant a couple different places and had problems in the past, but part of that was my inadequacy as a gardener at the time. I feel confident I could actually probably move these guys if I wanted to now, but I just want to leave them where they're at. Get them into focus a little bit. There we go. Got focused enough. Yep. So that is wild bergamot or spotted bee balm, and yeah, you can see really, really showy flower heads. So they kind of stand out in the crowd when you're walking along. It makes a pretty decent tea, or to add a little flavor to other foods. It does have kind of a wild taste to it, so it's not like a garden variety mint, but it definitely makes a wild substitute for one. Just don't take too much, because it can be incredibly overpowering on your system and on your taste buds. Anyways, that's it for the video. I already went over what I wanted to set this at for a couple-minute video, but hope you guys are having a great day and keep enjoying the wild things, and I will keep taking pictures of them.